And he took his staff in his hand, and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag, which he had, even in a script. And the sling was in his hand, and he drew nigh to the Philistine. Let's talk about this stick that David carried out here onto the field of battle. Okay, this was not a crutch. This was not a walking stick. This was your standard issue shepherd's staff. Okay? A shepherd's staff is a mighty tool in the hands of a good shepherd. It is an instrument of direction. It is an instrument of correction. It is an instrument of protection. I'm going to say that again. Shepherd's staff is a mighty tool in the hand of a good shepherd. It is an instrument of direction, an instrument of correction, and an instrument of protection. Remember that. There will be a test later. We're going to talk about another shepherd. But we're going to have some fun. Okay? Imagine, if you will, a news crew. A Bedouin news crew. Okay? We're live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Good evening. Camel Caravan, Action News 7. We're here outside the town of Midian, speaking with, what was your name again? Is that your first name or your last name? What do you mean, one name? What are you, a celebrity? Do you think you know her? What? We're speaking with Moses, just Moses. And we're asking him, Moses, what are you doing out here in the middle of nowhere? Well, I'm taking my father-in-law's sheep to graze in the back of the desert. Moses, let me understand what you're saying here. You're taking someone else's sheep out to graze in the back of the desert. You mean there's someplace worse than this? What do these sheep eat? Well, mostly, they eat mostly dirt. Well, there is one bush, but it's on fire. So Moses goes over to check out this bush. Maybe he can stomp it out, feed it to a sheep. God sees him coming, tells him to take his shoes off. You don't want him stomping out that bush. God tells Moses that you're going to go to Egypt, and you're going to gather another flock. And you're going to deliver this flock out of bondage, and you're going to herd this flock across the back of the desert to the land of milk and honey, to the promised land. Well, Moses isn't all that big on that. He's not very confident. God asked Moses what he had in his hand. He said a rod, which is a standard issue shepherd's staff. And God told Moses he was going to do signs with that staff, with that rod. What did Moses do with that? Turned it into a snake. Turned the waters of Egypt into blood. Hit the dust of the ground, and it became lice. Held it towards heaven, and brought thunder, hail, lightning, and fire. Held it over the land, and brought locusts on the east wind. Held it up and divided the Red Sea. Hit the rock, and water came out in the desert. Held it up so that Israel would prevail in battle. Now Moses was a good shepherd. He used this shepherd's staff, standard issue shepherd's staff, and he gathered a flock in Egypt. He delivered them out of bondage. He herded them across the back of the desert to the promised land. But Moses, for being as good of a shepherd as he is, was only a type and shadow, a forerunner, a preview of our good shepherd. who, with his standard issue shepherd staff, came and gathered a flock, delivered them out of bondage, and is now herding them across the back of the desert that we call life. And he's taking us to the promised land, the land of milk and honey. Now, our good shepherd, wielding his mighty shepherd staff, his staff was an instrument of what? Told you there'd be a test. Of direction. To direct his sheep into the safety of the sheepfold. Shepherd's staff was an instrument of correction. To correct the sinful, misbehaving nature of his flock who have gone astray. It's an instrument of protection. He protects his sheep from the attacks of the ravenous wolves. Can all the sheep say, amen?